Ha, I knew that would keep them away. Welcome to another episode of SmegChris Review. I know, it's been a while. Naughty me. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I want to keep the sound down to a minimum because I don't want the trolls to find out. Finding out what? Shh. Okay. Anyway, let's start with some news. You may have already heard, but we're finally going to see Superman in the second season of Supergirl. Yes, I know. Supergirl's getting a second season. I'm joking. I actually like it. And now it joins the other DC shows on the CW, we might actually start seeing more crossovers. The episode where the Flash showed up was pretty awesome. I like that word. Awesome! Shh! Onto television, where I have quite literally binge watched all 3 seasons of Penny Dreadful. It is very gory, dark and full of sex, but what I liked about it was the different characters that were brought in. We saw Frankenstein, Dracula, Dr. Jekyll and many others. But the best part of the show was Eva Green. I think she's become one of my favourite actresses of all time. She's tremendous. The show isn't for everyone, but it is quite entertaining, and I was surprised at how it ended. Yeah, that's right, I finally got into it just in time for it to end. But it's still worth watching though. Now for film reviews. Please don't hate me. I have 4. Yes, 4. First up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. If you enjoyed the first one, then this one will keep you happy. I have to say that this is the closest adaptation to the cartoon series that I have ever seen. It has the Turtles, it has April O'Neil, it has Shredder, it has Casey Jones, who was sadly missing from the first film, it has Bebop and Rocksteady, and it has Krang, whom I've never really liked. Unfortunately, he's the big bad of the whole movie, but thankfully he's not in it that much, although the same could be said of the plot. It felt like the producers had a lot of bullet points in what they wanted, so they told the director to just cram them in wherever he wanted. So we had one plot thread on top of another until it became this great big mess. However, with that being said, the last half hour is pretty great. Not amazing, but it is cohesive and makes you feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside. The comedy is also spot on, especially when Casey Jones becomes the butt of the Turtles' jokes. Jones was actually the standout character thanks to the brilliant Stephen Amell. It was nice to see him outside of his Green Arrow persona. In the end, I give it a... What are you doing, Clone One? I want to shout cower! I told you to shush. My second review is of Independence Day Resurgence. I'm only on my second review. As you can expect, it doesn't quite live up to the original. As soon as it starts, it has a totally different feel. At the beginning of the original, everything was like it was in the real world, so it felt like it could actually happen. At the beginning of the new one, everything is different because they've incorporated all of the alien tech into current life. We don't have any of that in the real world. With that feeling lost, the film felt surreal. Also, whenever we saw an heroic death, it felt empty. Again, the opposite of the original. Oh, and because Will Smith was never involved, it left a huge gaping hole. With all that being said, the film does reasonably well. Instead of many ships coming to Earth, we see one huge one coming through the atmosphere, which is pretty cool. Oh, and it has to be said, Brent Spiner, who played Dr. Kun briefly in the original, stole the whole of the sequel. I'm really glad he had a bigger part in this one. His madcap, funny quip, strange doctor was by far the best part of the film. However, there is a major letdown at the end of the film when you see the alien queen. Let's just say we've seen enough monster movies of late. At the end I give Independence Day Resurgence a... maybe the third one will be better. Yep, there are plans. My third review is for Now You See Me Too. I'm only on my third. For fans of the original, don't expect a repeat performance here. Whereas that one was about surprises, showmanship and spectacle, this one's more about plot twists and turns. If you don't pay attention to the plot, you'll get a headache. Isla Fisher is missing, but she's aptly replaced by Lizzie Kaplan, who's playing a new, and dare I say, better character. She has charisma where Isla Fisher has, she did do something right. And it was a delight to see Daniel Radcliffe playing a villain for once. He really has shed his Larry Totter character. That is the name of the boy wizard, right? A lot more happens in the sequel, but it feels like it's going in the same way as the Fast and the Furious films. Never ending. Oh, this could be the final one. In this day and age, I doubt it. I'd like to give you a little rundown of the story, but like I say, it'll give you a headache. I did like the film, just not as much as I did the first one. With the exception of Lizzie Kaplan, she should have been in the original. I give Now You See Me 2 I wonder if Now You See Me 3 will be like this. Ah, my knee's cracked. My final review is for Star Trek Beyond. Finally got to the end. Come on, you know I'm a Trekkie and I had to. And because I am a Trekkie, I'd like to start with the downside. By far out of the recent reboot of films, this one is the weakest. But it isn't bad, I assure you, just not as good. Idris Elba's character had an accent which sometimes was hard to follow, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will complain about that. Also, there seems to be confusion with the writers as they get a little bit of the Trek history wrong, mainly about the NX class starships that we saw in Star Trek Enterprise. I know it's supposed to be a parallel universe, but that part of the timeline was never affected by the changes. But all that aside, there's plenty of good. All the characters got plenty of exposure instead of fixating on just a few. The story was pretty good too. And we get a little nod to the original Star Trek, which is good because this year marks the 50th anniversary of that show. Justin Lin did an amazing job as director and proves that he can do more than just fast cars. Despite only a few space battles, the ones that we got were pretty epic. But what stood out the most was the characterisation of the crew, giving us more time to learn from them and from each other. It is a good film and a great Trek film, just not the best. I give Star Trek Beyond a... and let's just hope that the new television show that's coming out soon is going to be just as good, if not better. Clone, what are you doing now? I'm watching Fwed and Percy rip up this piece of paper that was stuck to the door. Fwed looks really angry. Okay, with that, I'm going. I have reviewed 4 films. Thanks for watching and subscribing if you have. Until the next time, peace out. So the reason I had 4 films is, well, 1, I'm lazy, and 2, I went to see Star Trek Beyond today. And you mix those 2 up and you end up with 4 films. Okay, that doesn't add up quite as well as I thought it would in my head, but you know, let me explain. You see, over a week ago I had the script ready, I had 3 films for you, and then summer happened. I mean, the house was getting incredibly hot for starters, so filming with lights on is not a good idea, which is why I'm doing it now in the day where I've got no lights on. I'm still a bit sweaty. And of course, because my house is warm, I end up opening my windows and my doors, and again I'm mentioning my neighbourhood. Seriously, there's a couple that live on the corner and they must have grandkids come round all the time, and the kids are off school, so they're shouting and screaming and laughing and whatever else they do. And then there's another guy over there who likes to do a lot of DIY in his garden, so there's a lot of sewing and drilling and whatever else he's doing. Anyway, getting back to my excuse, I mean why I didn't just do the 3 films and did 4. Like I say, I went to the cinema today and I watched Star Trek Beyond, so I added it to the script. I suddenly started channeling Captain Kirk there.